Good evening, fight fans. Welcome to another great episode of Headkicks and Haymakers. I'm your boy Bodkins, and of course, with me as always is Mr. Bobby Blunt. Bobby, man, what a night it was Saturday night. Dricus du Plessis handles Kamaru Usman. I had it 50-45. I don't know what Kamaru was bitching about to the judges, saying that these judges he didn't understand the scorecards. I don't know if I've talked to a single soul yet that didn't see it 50-45. Was Saturday night, was that more about Dricus looks good and it title shot next, or was it more Usman's old, slow, and probably shouldn't be a 145er?
185er. He definitely shouldn't be a 145er.
145. Yeah, 180 definitely should be a 145er, but maybe he shouldn't be a 185er either.
Unless he's cutting off his leg. No, I absolutely think this is more about Dricus kind of improving a lot from his. I mean, obviously improved a lot from his last fight, but the whole I knew immediately like how the fight was going, that was kind of going to be the narrative, like, oh, is Usman just washed? And Usman looked very rough in the first two rounds, got damaged, and somehow like still was able to recover and have a pretty like decent third round as far as fighting back in the fight. Like, I agree, I still think I gave that round to Dricus. But when in the second round, it was looking like he was going to get finished pretty quickly, he did kind of like at least recover. And I really don't know how many other 85ers would recover in that scenario. He took a lot of shots. Granted, the punch to the eye that was deemed an eye poke, if there is no stalling,
it wasn't deemed an eye poke. I don't think it was. He stopped, and then once they reviewed it real quick, they said keep going.
Yeah, but when they stopped it, that's when it was deemed the end. It should have never been stopped. Like that true. Was a punch. In real time, that kind of pissed me off. But in hindsight, Usman is just a vet. And, it's no different than playing to the referee when you're trying to get fouled in the NBA. So, in real time, I was calling it out, like, come on, like, what are we doing here? I kind of like get the vet savvy move, and it kept him in the fight to where he could recover there. And he did have like a decent fifth as well, even though I also scored that for Dricus. Like, I thought it was 50-45, but I thought it was much more about Dricus than like Usman looking like he needs to retire. Like, I still think he could easily take a fight if he wanted to keep fighting. I did also feel in real time he took his gloves off to get an interview to bitch about the officiating, or not the officiating, the scoring. Because like when he said, what fight were you watching? My answer would be the fight. But to give him a little bit of a break with how much he got rocked and stuff, who knows? Like, maybe he thought he did not look like he was on skates when he like clearly was. So I would be like kind of curious what his thoughts were on that fight, watching it back. So, though I did find him like looking back to DC, like, are you kidding me with these scorecards? I all found that like very entertaining at the time. I also kind of understand why Usman might have had that mindset, because Dricus put a lot of damage on him.
Right, he did. Still can't stop the head kick to the dome. You know what I mean? So I mean, how hard does Leon Edwards kick? Because Dricus hit him with some of those same shots.
The first thing I thought is, goddamn, how hard did he hit him with that head kick to put him down to one? And obviously perfect shot, but yeah, absolutely.
Same. Yeah, Dricus I thought looked good. I wanted to see more of like the defensive wrestling. Usman just couldn't really shoot. I guess you could credit Dricus for that, right? But in my mind, Usman did not. He went 0 for 2 on the takedowns and just didn't really try to take him down after that. I don't know if it's Usman's 50-year-old knees or what that just doesn't quite have. We know he doesn't have the explosiveness as Khamzat or even Usman once had. But I thought Dricus looked good. Yeah, I don't. Let me ask you. I mean, do you have the appetite for Sean Strickland, Dricus Du Plessis 3 next? Or it definitely should still be Imanov, but there's rumors that may not happen. There's rumors that I'm hearing Imanov versus Joe Pyfer in Paris. I don't know how true that is, but I'm just saying what the internet's saying.
Yeah, definitely. Usman abandoned the takedowns really early. Dricus did a great job not fighting up against the cage and just kind of walking to the center there. And
Dricus kind of called out Khamzat as well, right? Like in the post fight, like what he did to me wasn't a fight.
I could see him, wanting to maybe get that one back. It is interesting with Strickland's case because legitimately every matchup on the table for him is a rematch. So I do wonder because of that, like, will they be likely to go back to the trilogy? Like, personally, it would not be my first selection, but I'd have. Let me just say this: I would prefer if Imavov is actually missing out on the title shot against Strickland. I would much prefer Dricus to get the rematch than Chimaev because Dricus has 2 wins over Sean.
Yeah.
But I could really see him
is coming off of a win, right? You know what I mean? Like, I don't think that they should do the immediate rematch. I'm with you. I do think it should be Imanov next. But then what's next? What do you make? What's next for Dricus? Like, do you do him and Khamzat? Him and Brendan Allen's is calling out Dricus. I don't hate that. He's 5.
I guess if Dricus takes a fight and doesn't choose to wait, I guess they could do that.
Him or Joe Pyfer? Joe Pyfer's 4.
If they end up running back Chimaev Strickland, the answer is undoubtedly Imanov. Like, give me Imanov and Dricus. I've been wanting to see that fight for a while anyways. So it does like kind of feel like he's going to get paired with whoever does not get the title shot. I do wonder what Paramount, let alone the UFC's appetite would be for a Chimaev Dricus rematch. But
I mean, you could put it on a co-main event or something, right? I don't have the appetite for that fight, period.
Yeah, I mean, I would be interested to see what adjustments Dricus has made for that, because I do think, the way he was able to just control him in the center like that the entire time, I do think he would at least try to do something differently than just get controlled for 25 minutes. But, that's why you can sell me on the Strickland rematch far more, because that is a fight that, they are able to call it a trilogy for marketing purposes. That makes it feel like a bigger thing than it actually is, And I'm sure Sean, like on a personal level, would also want to get that one back, considering he's down 2. But, I'm with you. Like, if I had the vote, I would just prefer them to do a Imanov. But Strickland's in a good spot, even though it's considering it's all rematches. I guess it's more a credit to Strickland, who's literally fought the entire division.
Right. The only people he hasn't fought, he hasn't fought Brendan Allen, or has he fought Brendan? I don't think he's fought. And Joe Pyfer,
Brendan
right?
Allen, I think on short notice. Yeah.
Okay, so Joe Pyfer is number 4. He's the only one he hasn't fought.
Yeah, and you gotta think if there are truths to Imanov and Pyfer in Paris, if Pyfer wins that, it's kind of clear they're trying to like set him up for a title shot,
right?
Because he's always
I think the promotion prefers Joe Pyfer, right? Like they don't want to be in the Imanov business.
They want to be in the Joe Pyfer business. They've made a catchphrase. And, you know, I'm
Yeah.
hopeful Amanov gets his due, because if he doesn't, at bare minimum, you have to give him Dricus next. And, you know, that would make him undoubtable too. I mean, even though I have no doubt that he should be the title shot next, but I know a lot of people don't want to see that next, mainly just because they figure they've seen it before, so there'll be no different result. But Amanov has only got better, and that was also a short notice kind of catch weight fight in the first place.
Agreed. I would rather see that than a lot of these other two rematches. And I think Imanov has deserved it. But yeah, if I was going to match make, I would do Dricus. If I was the pencil, I would do Sean Strickland title fight with Imanov. I would probably do Joe Pyfer versus Dricus, and then I would kind of give me, I don't know, Hamzat and somebody else, I guess, you know, if that's the route, if Hamzat comes back to 185.
Do you think Hamzat would just, with how little he fights, would he just like hold out until they give him the title shot? Do you think he would even take another fight?
I don't know. Yeah, that's a good question. He only fights one time a year, right? So maybe.
Because I could see if them not giving it to him, he'll be like, okay, I get winner sort of thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah. Could you see a scenario where they play like a hops? Like, I could see this scenario. I was thinking about this the other day, where they just do like a triangle, like those three, right? Like, what if they do Dricus and Sean Strickland, the trilogy? Dricus wins, then Hamzat wins, and then they do Sean rematch against Hamzat, and they just keep passing the belt around between the three of them. You know, it's very possible.
With where this division is, like, those are clearly the three top guys. You know, I know people wanted to put Hoofy there. Obviously, Strickland had something to say about that. But now, like, you see these guys train together, you know, so that I think the three of them will kind of be on the back and forth. But I would say, like, I do think Amanov also belongs in that category as well. Like, I think it could be the four.
Yeah, and I'd like to see him get the
really going back and forth.
I'd like to see Amanov get the title shot. So that's kind of where I'm at. Hopefully that's what happens for the young guy, for him. But you know, we'll see. What do you make of Kamaru Usman? His title days, I think he took this fight. We talked about it last week. He took this fight because I thought he could win through wrestling. He beats Dricus. It would put him almost in line for a title shot, right? Like, where we know we could see them just giving him the next shot, or maybe one away from that. But that is now closed. I don't see him as a title contender at 185, and I think his days as a title contender at 170. And I don't know if there's like a big matchup that you want to see him in against anybody. So to me, it is time for Kamaru Usman to put the gloves down and say, see you later.
Yeah, I can understand if people are there and because they don't think he's gonna, you know, really get the gold again. He does seem to like want to.
He's 40 years old. I mean, he's like 39. Isn't he like 39, 40? He's almost 40.
Yeah, no, he's for sure getting up there. I think basically what I got him through the media week was he wants to still kind of take big fights. So I'm sure the UFC would figure out something to offer him. It absolutely sounds like Dana White still wants to be in the Kamaru Usman business. I think he would have no problem keeping him on a main card. A lot of people asked Dana about the retirement, and, you know, he shut that. You know that when he goes, oh, well, you talk about retiring, you might want to retire. He did not put that down for Usman at all. And obviously, you know, like they gave him the fight of the night bonus. I think a big part of that had to do with, you know, Usman and Ali. Not saying he didn't deserve it, but it definitely helps when they make those decisions. And, you know, I could understand if people would want to see him call it, but the Kamaru I saw still gets wins over a lot of these guys in the division.
He does, but what's the point, though? Like, at this point in time in his career and life, you know, you're 40 years old. I don't see him winning the title. Do I see him winning? Could he beat the Joaquin Buckleys of the world? Absolutely. Could he beat even some of these lower ranked middle rank? You know, could he beat maybe even Kyle Pajaro at middleweight? Possibly. You know, Uh, um, but like that's not, that he is into the business of getting title chasing, and I don't see that. I don't see a path there. And at his age, I just don't know. And I don't even really see, like I said, I don't what big fights are left out there for him.
Well, I think it's similar.
Conor McGregor, you gonna bring back Conor?
Yeah. I think it's like very similar. I think it's very similar to like the Izzy situation where they would just more prefer to go out on a win than debilitating loss. And I'll acknowledge that's kind of a dangerous game at that point when you're chasing it. But
how many are you gonna get?
You have a point. Like I can't really think of a matchup that I'd want to really put him in. I do think 170 would probably be better just because like he looked so much smaller than Dricus in there. I mean, could you imagine if they did like Usman versus RoboCop or something? Like the size
I mean, that's where he's ranked. Actually, he is ranked 11 in these meta rankings. Kamaru Usman in the middleweight.
Why is fuck you, meta? That is what he does not have a ranked win at middleweight. I mean, I'm whatever. That's absurd.
Hey, you know what that means, Bobby? If me and you went in right today and we lasted 5 rounds with Dricus du Plessis on Tuesday, the next week we would be a ranked middleweight, baby. That's what that means, Bobby.
I don't think either of us are lasting 25 minutes with Dricus.
No, I'm not. No, I'm not. I'm just saying that's what that means.
Like 170 would be, you're talking about maybe like JDM rank, because I do not think he would want to do Pratis or Morales. That seems, I think if he would have taken those fights, he would have taken them already, So it is a fair question to wonder what's next.
Yeah, JDM, you got JDM. If you go back down to 170, JDM and Sean Brady are 4 and 5. I would favor him maybe in JDM, right? From what we've seen the last 2 fights of JDM.
Yeah,
at this point in time.
And Brady's been calling for that fight forever. I mean, I don't think that were to materialize, but but yeah, no, I do think it'd be a very winnable fight if he fought JDM, who's also on quite a skid, Yeah.
My son tends to agree with me here. He says, I think some of these old heads need to put the gloves down and leave. So,
I mean, he's a smart boy.
The apple don't fall far from the tree. Yeah.
Indeed.
Speaking of old heads and putting gloves down, that brings us to the co-main event. What did you make of Cannonier and CLD? CLD pretty much, wins all 3 rounds. Cannonier just couldn't. I thought Cannonier could maybe put some pressure and some of that unk strength on him, as the kids would say. Didn't happen. CLD wins. Cannonier's, he's over 40. I think he's like 41 or 42. I don't see him. What I did like, I saw clips of was afterwards. He was like coaching CLD. I could see a path for Cannonier there, like after fighting, obviously. But I didn't come away though super impressed from CLD. Did you?
It's weird because the last fight I did not know what to make of Christian Leroy Duncan at all. He had an impressive win, but I more or less was kind of unimpressed. And this fight, I kind of had the similar takeaway. However, I do want to say he fought much better in this fight. I like the performance a lot more. I thought I was watching Ryzen for a second with that illegal shot to the face. Classic Herb Dean moment there, no one got booed harder on Saturday night than Herb Dean. We just might want to point that out. But yeah, I still kind of don't know what to make of CLD in this division. But at a certain point, I have to give him credit because he continues to, get these wins. And you know, I did think Cannonier is a tough performance. I've seen a lot of people have issues with him before, but he is also starting to kind of slow down a little bit. Is your son telling Cannonier to retire too?
He's just pretty much saying it's sad to watch like all the former champions kind of get beat, is what he said. So, yeah,
Yeah, no, the
that's the
least fun
sport, baby.
part. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's probably the least fun part of it is watching them age out for sure.
yeah. Not many guys go out on top. I'm with you though. I don't know what to make of CLD. Like, I don't. I like Cannonier, but it's not like you know who he is at this point. You know, he challenged for the title, and that was a snooze fest. But we'll not get into that one. And he's got can win some fights against some young up and comers, but it's not. I didn't watch I did not come away from CLD like that's a top 5 middleweight. And we'll talk. We're going to talk later in the show about one of the guys who I think could be a top 5 middleweight in this division. That's not in the organization, foreshadowing here. But I don't think that CLD is a top 5 middleweight, and I don't know what to think of him actually.
I wrote down him versus RoboCop. What do you think of that?
I like it. A fun one.
Would you favor RoboCop?
Yeah. Let me. Let me look.
And like, to be clear, I'm not trying to sell CLD short because he did have a great win. I just don't really know what to make of it if we're talking about, ranked middleweight or future middleweight contender. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So CLD's 10, RoboCop's 9. I mean, you could do CLD Izzy. What do you think of that?
I actually don't hate that at all. I think it's something Izzy would probably take. I do think it's a lot more favorable than the Pyfer match. I mean, even though Izzy was having a lot of success in that, but I would not be mad at that at all. I could see the UFC maybe attempting to do that too, like hoping that kind of how they set up Pyfer in that spot. So I gotta say I like it better than him versus RoboCop.
All right, see,
because I would still consider that a winnable fight for Izzy personally.
Yeah, I do too. I would too.
Yeah,
I think that's kind of the route I would go. I think it's nice, Bobby. I want to talk just a few more here on the OKC. I thought maybe the star of the night. Well, let me ask you: bigger star of the night, Tommy Gunn or Fatima Klein?
Oh, that's real tough. I think like as far as like who stole the crowd and everything and captured the moment, I would say Tommy McMillan. However, Fatima Klein was amazing, like very impressive to watch. She was literally throwing Baby Shark around like a fucking stuffed animal. It was,
she took her to Suplex City a few times.
Yeah, and I mean, Richie is no slouch. She has some decent wins in the organization, but Klein was looking like she was on a whole different level and was asking for a top 5 booking next. And the way she fought, it's hard to really deny or disagree with that. So I hope they do it. There's a lot of intriguing ones, like with her skill set that they could match up. So, I think the entire main card as a whole delivered, but I will probably say that McMillan delivered in the aspect of I thought that was going to be a 50-50 fight with their skill sets. I was dead wrong. McMillan put a pace on him that, until he got him out of there, it was
when you break a Diaz record for pace. Yeah. When you break a Diaz record for pace, that's something.
Yeah, I mean, it was essentially one-way traffic against a guy that is not lost in the UFC yet and was also looking like a surging contender. And I think the UFC knows what they have here. At bare minimum, he should be on these shows on the road. You cannot put this kid back in the apex. Like, keep him on the road or savor him, for the brighter stage on a main card of like a numbered event or something. Got a very fan-friendly style. And and he's obviously only going to get better. He's still extremely young.
Yeah, I thought real quick. I want to go back to Klein. I thought she was the star, Bobby. I thought maybe more meaningful win. I obviously Tommy Gunn's got a long career ahead of him. He's just I feel like starting out, but Klein she's 10-1. Her lone loss is to Jasmine Jasavicius back in July of 2 years ago, and since then she is now won 4 in a row. So, and like you said, she called out kind of those top women there. And why not, right? Like, why not? So, I mean, she moved up to 6. I mean, they could do her if they went to China. They're going back to China. Why not do her and Zhao Shan, or maybe if Wei Li decides to come back, you know what I mean? And wants one before she goes for the title, that could main event over there.
I kind of love the way Lee called out when she mentioned it.
Yeah.
And yeah, to be clear, I do agree with Klein kind of being the bigger star of the night, just because, like, let's be honest, like the women's division kind of needs this. We need some new contenders with kind of some fresh matchups that we can run. So we should kind of only, want her to succeed. And I just did hope at bare minimum, she's fighting up next. And since she is at 6, I don't know what the booking is going to be like for Wei Li after Dern fights Robertson there, but it is kind of a name to keep a eye out for, and especially like if she can do that to like someone in the top 5, watch out. And Jazz Davicius is a very good opponent too, so that's not like a terrible loss.
No, it's not like it's not. It's not like she lost to somebody that's legit. Yeah, and to mention like what you said, Tommy McMillan, like he put on a pace and he got rocked a few times, and they just was like, hey, let's just go out here. We're going to put on a show. And he said, like, every time I go, I'm trying to win that 100K. So you're right, Bobby. This kid's going to have a lot of a fan-friendly style. But being a featherweight, we both sit here almost weekly and say that's one of the deeper divisions that there is the 145. And he's going to run into some guys eventually, right? Eventually, not anytime soon. But, man, I really think this kid's good. He is a star. You can't go put him back in the warehouse. You got to put him. You mentioned number. He could open up a main card, right? Like we just saw 2 weeks ago. It was Terrence McKinney and King Green. Like that's the way they want to open up pay-per-views. He could do that. He could always be a co-main event now on that third fight or even on like those out of town shows. But yeah, this fight night, like he has to be on the Arizona card. Put him on it. Like just put him on it. Like kid's fun. He's got the style.
That makes a lot of sense because if I'm not mistaken, that's where he's from. I know it's where
he trains. It is. Yeah. Kid's got he's young. He's fun to watch. He's got the O'Malley kind of build that I think, and that's kind of what they should do. Just bring them along slowly, let them build, and that type of way. Let them get these knockouts. Like, I mean, when you put on a pace, like when you break a records that are held by one of the Diaz brothers, you're doing something. Anybody else that maybe you wanted to shout out real quick here on the OKC card?
Yeah, got to give some love to the local Hermosa Beach boy, John Paul Lebanasi. I think is how you pronounce his last name. Butcher that. But, he fought Ko in one of the more competitive fights of the night. It's his slick kind of he kept ending up in like this guillotine position. He's just very well rounded with whether it's grappling. He was able to like kind of reverse a slam in the first round. And, he faced a little bit of adversity in the fight, even though I thought he won the first 2 rounds. And both of these guys were on a multiple fight winning streak. So this is his second win in the UFC against a good opponent. You know, his debut is against Phil Rowe. So I know 170 is deep, but he's very young. He's 27 years old. So I'm just kind of excited what we're gonna get out of him long term. And so far, he's answered the bell in full.
Yeah, there was a good win from him. Chase Hooper, I thought had a yeah, Chase is so frustrating because he does things like he did on Saturday where he looks good, and then he'll turn around and lose like in his next fight. But he's only 20. It's crazy because he's only 29 years old, so he's still got a couple of years here to really make fun at this thing.
Yeah, the weight miss was kind of bizarre. I don't know if he
Right?
was sick or something. They
Yeah.
alluded to it not being a weight cutting issue, but at least he was able to get the win. I think that would kind of be a anomaly with the miss there. But yeah, good to see him get back in the win column. It didn't take too long, and it's always good to see Chase Hooper get a win. And you do forget how young he is because he came into the UFC so young. So he's got plenty of time as well.
Yeah, that's agreed. Bobby, I want to move. We were talking about the middleweights, and the guy I alluded to is a guy that I think is a top 5 middleweight in the world, and and he got the big win, Johnny Eblen on Saturday night. I think he looks a lot better. I was very high on him a few years ago. I thought he was a top middleweight then. He had struggled, but now he seems since that loss to have locked it back in and really focused. What did you make of the PFL Saturday, and more in particular, like Johnny Eblen?
Yeah, I mean, I think the PFL absolutely struck gold Saturday night. I was a big fan that they were able to like let the show go on when Van Steens initially pulled out. They got Johnny a replacement opponent in Impa there.
And he looked better
Definitely,
this time than he did last time against Impa.
absolutely. You definitely noticed the striking. I saw a lot of Sean Strickland behind it. Like you could tell he's been working with him. He felt a lot more comfortable standing and stuff, it seemed. And then being able to get him up against the fence and kind of work that clinch work. And yeah, he looked really good. And I think the PFL just made a good situation kind of turn out for the best because they had Van Steens there. They brought him in the cage. So they're able to kind of, hype that up. So that will be a big fight that hopefully they could get this year. I
I don't
think
think
that,
so. Johnny Eblen was on Ariel today and was pretty much he thinks that'll fight next year because they can hold that much like the UFC. They're going to try to hold that fight for their new TV deal.
yeah, I personally think Ariel's reading in a little bit too much of the tea leaves in that because we'll get to it in a second, but like PFL is doing extremely big things this year with the super fight they announced with Ryzen. I would think it would serve them better to have this fight on the books this year and would give them much more leverage with their future negotiating partner. Like I see the kind of argument for why they would delay it to 27,
Yeah,
definitely. But at the same time, I think they could turn that on its head and actually use that to their benefit with how kind of well that whole thing came off. And it sounds like Eblen would be willing to do it this year. So yeah, it's just really if they're going to hold it out for the TV deal. But I'm pretty optimistic that we could still get that because when you think of further fights down in PFL, really, I could only think of two. I mean, besides this weekend, Thad Gene is fighting for the title, uh, a vacant title, but it's still that's a pretty good high quality match. So
that's not. This isn't the Austin card, is it?
no, last week was Austin. That's where Eblen fought. Yeah.
I thought. Oh, you're right. So what's the card that Nurmagomedov and Dakota's on?
That is I don't think that one's in October, I want to say.
Okay.
The one this weekend is DC. It's in Washington DC. It's Thad Jean and Shama Musa Mayev, I believe. Don't hold me to the name there, but which I gotta say is probably the most high quality fight this weekend as
Yeah,
far
it's
as like skill for
Musayev,
skill.
for the
Yeah.
welterweight title. Yeah.
Yeah, no, both of these guys could easily get ranked wins in the UFC. And so, yeah, I'm equally excited for that one. And, I just got to give PFL credit. They've done everything I've asked for. They've gotten rid of the tournament and they've put on more consistent events in local kind of areas to build themselves up. And then, they're also making big moves with like cross promotion and stuff. I mean, this is the best thing for MMA going forward is for these promotions to kind of cross promote and have their champions fight each other. There's no negative way to spin this, like this.
Oh, so that PFL card that I was talking about is next weekend.
The Dakota and
Yeah, PFL New York at 4 p.m. Eastern is the early card. 7 p.m. Eastern is the main card. Friday. Next
See,
Friday.
I mean, that right there, they got 3 solid events back to back in a row. That's you could really see the John Martin fingerprints on this. Like ever since he's taken over for Don Davis, he's really dialed in the fight and event side. And I've absolutely appreciated it as a viewer.
Yeah. And you mentioned the super fight, AJ McKee versus your guy from the Rising.
Yeah. And yeah, kind of fitting too, because like Ryzen also had an event this weekend. PFL had a good event this weekend, and then I wake up Monday morning and see John Martin announcing it on the timeline. It's I believe it's Razabaya Shadulov is how you pronounce his name. Also, like, do not hold me to the name pronunciation of that, but bottom line, he's 18-0, undefeated.
Yeah.
He's the Ryzen featherweight champion. He's defended the title 3 times already. And he's 18-0 and he has never gone to decision. Like he finishes all these fights, and Ryzen title fights are 3 5-minute rounds. So it's not even like he has a 4th and 5th round to get these finishes. He's finishing them inside 3, most of the times in the 2nd round. And like personally, I think he is the best fighter in the world that is not fighting in the UFC.
That's
He is
what a lot
clearly,
of people say. Yeah, that's what a lot of people are saying.
He's unquestionably Ryzen's best athlete. And the fact that they are able to have him fighting AJ McKee, like it's a home run for AJ. He's taking a big fight, getting a huge opportunity to win a belt in a different organization.
Yeah, that's what I say. This fight is for both the PFL featherweight and the Ryzen featherweight. So you're double champ. This is some wrestling type shit that's happening here. I like it.
And the cherry on top in the elite MMA Ryzen rule set, you will be able to stomp a downed opponent, knees to the head, all that is completely legal. And credit to AJ for taking it under those rule set. Like I thought at first he would push for it to be in a cage, because they do fight in a cage on some of the landmark events, but this is going to be on the Super Ryzen event. So to my knowledge, this is going to be in a ring. And I'm struggling to figure out the last time there was a fight with this big of stakes outside of the UFC. I mean, I'm sorry.
When was the last time like two organizations put their belts both on the line?
Exactly. It's
like I don't know if that's ever happened. I would have to I don't not.
Yeah, off the top of my head, I would have to look that up too. But just the that type of stuff is just such a rarity, and it's just such a breath of fresh air that we're getting something special like this. It's undetermined whether or not it's going to be on ESPN. I know for a fact we will be able to watch it the same way I watch Ryzen. I have like their premium pass. That's $17.95 a month. I continue to say it is the best subscription in combat sports with just the entire library you get. But even if you want to just do the one-off pay-per-view, it will be $20, $19.95, and you will get one of the bigger fights. And aside from Makachev and Gary and Pantoja and Van, this is by far my most anticipated fight left on the calendar.
You say that about one fight every week.
Yes, but this actually, if I have to drop some out of the conversation, this one is staying.
Yeah, it's going to be a good fight. It'll be interesting. I can't wait. And like you mentioned, John Martin, what he's done with the PFL, he's really turned this thing around. In my mind, they got away from the tournament, and they're giving you fights that you want to see, some names. They're doing some things. They're different from what the UFC's doing, but they're not so far in the left field. I don't know if they're like the number 2 organization, but they're going to be a decent organization. He's got them pointed in the right direction.
Yeah, and especially this thing with the number 2 gets so overblown because of Don Davis saying that, and
right.
They can just clearly exist in their own lane, and especially if they're willing to cross promote, this could be I know they signed this deal on with Ryzen, so this is not going to be the only one of these we see, and this is just going to help grow both of their organizations over time. If they are able to get him, to get Ryzen's top fighter and to have him defending the PFL title would only be a long-term win for the organization.
Right. Agreed. Yeah. Man, it's going to be good. And if Ryzen wins, if he wins, then he comes over to the PFL and you can promote him. It's a win-win situation.
Yeah. For everyone. I actually, because someone I'm surprised, but I'll have to give credit for in this is Ali, because he signed with Dominance recently, and I always kind of thought it was an end game to get him to the UFC quicker. But especially with Ali's, working with the PFL, that probably made this a lot easier to, get over the line there.
Yeah. Bobby, let's move to this weekend's card. It is UFC Abu Dhabi. It was supposed to be headlined by Ankalaev versus Khalil Rountree, and now we get Ankalaev versus Gustav as the main event. The co-main is pretty. I like the co-main. Steve Erceg versus I'm going to butcher this guy's name, Tamirov, in the ever dangerous flyweight division. Other than that, you got John Pork on the card taking on Damian Rizbisky, Walter Walker versus Thomas Peterson, and Santiago Ponzinibbio is on this card as well. So the other Bonfim, Ismail Bonfim's on this card taking on Axel Sola, but not the deepest of cards here. But I'm a little sad that we're not getting Roundtree versus Ankalaev, and we're filled with this crap at the top.
That was definitely a big blow, losing Roundtree. I was really excited for that one, but there are still some pretty compelling matchups here. In my mind, I am very excited to see Magomed, John Pork's debut, also fighting another kind of undefeated guy. So I don't think it's I'm not even sure what the line is there, but I don't necessarily think that's some layup for him. So that should be a pretty compelling fight. Not mad at the flyweight co-main at all. It's definitely a tough one for Steve Erceg, but he had a pretty good bounce back. So that should be good.
That fight's even on the odds. Who do you favor in there? Erceg versus Tamirov.
I'm gonna lean Urseg as long as he can kind of maintain the distance and stuff. But that is you know, especially with 3 rounds, he's gonna have to make sure that he doesn't get taken down and kind of kept there. But I understand why it's a pick 'em for sure. They keep matching Urseg up with some really tough opponents, and
They're like,
I
we
don't
gave you
think
the title shot. Now you're going to fight every tough fighter there is. Like,
yeah. I mean, he showed he belongs, so you know, it's not like they're mismatching him. He should be able to beat this guy, but
yeah.
it's not a easy fight at the same time. And I'm interested to see if Walter Walker can keep the heel hook show going. So you know that should be fun.
That co-main event, here's the odds here. So I told you it's even on the pick'ems, but Urseg by KOs plus 650. Urseg by submissions plus 9. Urseg by decisions plus 150. Tamirov by decisions plus 300. So then Tamirov by submissions plus 2,000. Tamirov by KOs plus 225.
Yeah, I mean, I'd lean Urseg by decision, but that's pretty much the same odds as his money line. So
yeah, well, you're getting plus money at least. It's minus right now on the pick'em. It's pretty much a toss. It's like minus 115 or 10.
Yeah, but I also wouldn't rule out Urseg being able to finish him. So I think I just would play. That'd be, you know, is the risk worth the plus money at going to decision when, you know, I would tend to say yes, but I might just want to pay up for the security and play his money line straight up if I'm betting him.
Yeah, I think if you go fight goes the distance, it's minus 155.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. What do you make of this main event? Ankalaev making his return after losing the title to Alex Pereira, and you know, he's obviously we're supposed to fight Khalil Roundtree. Roundtree gets hurt, and Ankalaev big favorite here at minus 600.
I mean, credit to Gustav for taking this. They offered it to Paulo. He could have gotten out of his deal by taking this, and he did not want to take it. So,
yeah, they offered it to Jan Blachowicz too, which we already saw in that horrible draw a few years ago.
Yeah, they're nasty for offering that. So fucking like if that was the main event, I would have lost my mind. I'm glad it's Gustav.
I don't need to see that again, but hey, we almost got it. And but yeah, he's a huge favorite here at minus 600. Gustav steps in, and I don't know, man. Gustav by KOs plus 550, which is wow. You can't even get Ank at KO by minus it's minus 190. Can't give big Ank.
Yeah, I mean,
650.
I do think he is going to be motivated to get that one back with you know, with how he lost the title and stuff being pretty quick.
Yeah.
I do wonder how much of a switch up it is from Roundtree to Gustav here. Because Roundtree does you know, he is going to bring it early, but at the same time it's a good thing like Gustav was in camp, because if I'm not mistaken, he was going to fight on next week's card if he didn't step in. Like that's yeah. So it's not like he's really coming in on too short notice. It's just more the opponent change. But Ankalaev is still very good. I don't think he's going to be afraid to strike with him at all. His striking gets kind of slept on because of his grappling. So especially with the opponent change, I would still favor Ankalaev. I don't know. He's pretty favored on the line, right? Did you tell me that, or
who?
Ankalaev?
Yeah, he's like plus 600.
Yeah, I mean that makes sense. He's still should be number 1 in the division. I believe he still is without looking at I mean, if you ask Meta, he's probably unranked. but he is still ranked at the top, and obviously Gustav's best method would be to kind of put him out early. That's easier said than done, even if Poten was able to do it in the last fight. I do wonder if like Ankalaev will have any hesitation because of that fight. But at the same time, he was fighting Khalil, where he was going to be just coming straight towards him anyways. So I don't think it's like too much of a switch up to where Ankalaev won't be able to adjust and get his hand raised. The question would really be if he needs all 5 rounds to do it. I would imagine that he wants to put some, distance between himself with these guys and get a finish.
Yeah, I think he wants to make a stamp here, right? Like, I think he needs a stamp. Like, he needs a fanatic finish if they do an interim title while what team's hurt. Then like he could step right in, right? Like, so I think he needs if he gets a big finish here, I think interim title shots on the line. I think that's why they haven't announced it since Carlos Holberg blew out his knee, right? Like they're waiting to see what the field looks like.
The only way he gets that is because Ali is his manager. Because I think he would deserve it by merit. I think they probably have him a lot lower on the list than, maybe they try to like rebook him versus Paulo if they are doing an interim.
Right.
Dana seems pretty steadfast that Olberg will defend his title soon. So
what's soon? Next year?
I don't
February?
know. I mean, I saw something saying in 26, which science-wise, I don't think is even possible.
I don't think so, no.
He loves to tout the science at the UFC PI. So
yeah, but no, I don't think so. And if I'm his team, I'm saying no.
Yeah, it's a lot more fitting than like they should do Ankalaev versus Kyle, or for good God, they should not do that. Versus Paulo. Actually, I would love that hate watch, but he's not a 205er. But anyways, getting sidetracked. I would much prefer them to do Ankalaev versus Paulo for an interim than re-evolve Yuri in the mix. Like, I think he needs to get one in. Who knows how long Roundtree is out too. Maybe they rebooked it, because I was looking forward to Roundtree versus Ankalaev, so I wouldn't mind we get that one back.
Same. I do think though, if he gets a finish, he's got a shot. I do think he gets it done, by the way. Give me Ankalaev. I think he probably can get the KO. Real quick, I wanted to shout out, we were talking about John Pork. John Pork, heavy favorite, or not a heavy favorite, but good size, minus 325. If you pick him by decisions, plus 125, submissions plus 900, and then by KOs plus 175. So
yeah, I think we all forget, because of how long ago it was, how fun his Contender Series fight was. So I'm looking to see if he can keep that momentum going. I mean, I already deem him as 1-0 in the UFC for the Dylan Dennis incident, but
right.
I'm probably one of the few that does. Most people look at that as a black eye. Who knows? Maybe that's why it took him so long to get booked. He has to fight over there. He's worried about coming in the States. I was a little disappointed that he is not fighting on the Islam card in a couple weeks. I thought it was a layup to have him fight on the same card as Islam in Philly. But at the same time, looking at this card, I'm kind of grateful he's on it this weekend, because it'll give me something to definitely look forward to.
Yeah, I was surprised the over-under rounds here is 2.5, and it's even both ways.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's going to just pull the fight forward. He's planning on striking. He's had a lot of Muay Thai success. So, I don't think this is going to be your traditional Dagestani with amazing top control performance.
No, but, he's
a hell of a better wrestler than Shara Bullet. So, like, let's not even go there. Like,
amen to that. Bobby, you got anything else before we get up out of here?
I touched on the PFL DC card for the vacant welterweight championship. That Gene and Shamal Love that. So definitely watch that. Also, Earl Spence is returning this weekend, so I'm kind of excited about that. AJ, Anthony Joshua, and Tyson Fury are also fighting, but they're not fighting each other. They're fighting two people we don't want to see them fighting, but that is also happening
I
this
did
weekend.
see. Is it really? Speaking of that, I saw an ad. It was like this I saw on Netflix for it. It said coming soon. I'm like, when is that? Like Tyson Fury versus Anthony Joshua. And it's like coming soon. I was
Yeah.
like, did I miss something? Like when was I know that they're supposed to fight each other, but like coming soon, we
Oh,
don't
that was on
fucking
the
know.
home run derby, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and um and that's what I think both of these fights are, is to hype that fight. But they've been trying to get this over the line so long, it's just kind of a fatigue in doing that. But yeah, they're fighting. I mean, the boxing, I'm looking forward to seeing Earl Spence in his return. He hasn't fought since the Crawford fight, so kind of interested to see there. And Taizu's no slouch either, so I think it's a compelling fight for Spence to come back to. And
What do you make of the Ryan Garcia versus old buddy Connor Ben in Zuffa? And I think his Garcia's belt's going to be on the line from as well.
Quite a bit of flexing going on by Zuffa. Golden Boy was nowhere to be
Hate to
seen.
say we told you all, but we told you all.
Golden Boy was nowhere to be found on the poster. Now, to my knowledge, he still would have had to somewhat sign off on this, even though Turkey has one more fight with Garcia from the Times Square deal. But I do find it also fitting on the poster. They're saying they're fighting for the world welterweight title and no mention of the WBC on that. So that, I'm sure as long as they get their sanctioning fees and there's no Zuffa title on the line, I don't think they'll have any pushback with it, and they'll let it go through. But I think the biggest news about that is it's on Paramount as well. That is one reason we were saying to take them seriously, because Zuffa Boxing has a television deal or streaming, whatever you want to call it. And that's why we've seen like DAZN pretty much joining forces with every promotion to try to stomp them out. But obviously they got Sella and Turkey 60% of the Zuffa. So they're playing with a lot of house money in these. And I don't think this is going to be the only one, but it might be the Zuffa's biggest event of the year. But going to be very interested to see how that is like promoted and plays out. I'm sure we'll eventually get Dana and Oscar on stage together, so that'll be fun.
Oh yeah, there'll be good handshake happening there. Can't wait for that.
And last recap, I do have to give a shout out to Danny Sabatello, who defended his bantamweight title and actually got a flash KO. I mean, credit to Ryzen for booking him against a jiu-jitsu guy. So Danny Sabatello felt the need to strike. Literally, he had the owner of the organization like pointing at his chest when he was handing him the belt, like, come on, I need to see something from you. Because, previously he just had his last defense where he basically won off control. So huge bounce back for not bounce back because he's been winning, but good win for Sabatello. It looked good. And that Talevnov guy that fought 3 fights in front of him on the Rising card, I do think he could give Sabatello problems. He trains with the Rising featherweight champion who just did the super fight. So I think his skill set, if they don't book Sabatello with like a PFL guy, I think we got some interesting stuff for Sabatello on the line. So this is a great time, ladies and gentlemen, to start watching Ryzen before this super fight. You won't regret it.
Yeah, check them out. Check us out next Wednesday, 8 o'clock Central, 9 Eastern. We'll go over all the events of the weekend, and we will preview UFC Belgrade. Is it the Belgrade card? They're overseas again. It's another
the most egregious site fee card for the ages. That one will be a treat to break down next week.
And I think that's headlined by Medic versus D-Rod, right?
Love D-Rod. Glad he got out of Mexican prison, but I don't think we need 5 rounds of that. But credit to him for getting the main event.
Hey, amen to that. Great story. Other than that, we'll be back next week at the 8 o'clock Central 9 Eastern, right here on Headkicks and Haymakers. For my guy Bobby Blunts, I'm Bodkins. Enjoy the fights. Have a great weekend. We'll see you next week.
Thanks so much for joining us, and until next time, let's talk sport, friends. Thanks for watching.